And about the experience thing, I'm pretty sure you have more experience than I do. I
Mm,
mean, look at Innova Lab.
mm. I
So
know.
it's nice to see everybody. I'm going to share my screen and go ahead. Can everybody see my screen?
Yes, yes. I can see your screen.
All right. Um, okay, give me a minute. Okay, so first of all, introduction. My name is Oyin Konsolami, and I am a product manager, but I have also can everybody hear me?
Yes, loud and clear.
Yes, we can
Okay.
hear you.
All right, thank you. I've also sat in the position of a content writer, content marketer, group marketer, and product management. So currently, I am building Learn Wazobia, a new product that is hitting the market soon. But in the past, I've worked at a startup hub where we built that products from different industries, from ed tech to finance to social apps. So I have quite some experience in that field. But yeah, that's it about me. Basically, I try to be whatever your product needs to succeed. So from being the product manager to handling your growth to handling your scale, I try to be that for your product. Now let's go into our outline for today. What are we going to be covering today? We're going to be covering product growth, your role as a PM, because I know that this is primarily a product manager organization. Most of us here are product managers. Product-led growth, because I know it is one of the popular topics right now. The AAR framework for growth, and then your product scale toolbox, and finally question and answers if you have any. Hopefully you do, and hopefully you enjoy this session. So what is product growth? I put here that product growth is a process of increasing a product value. So primarily, you're increasing your product value through strategies that satisfy current customers and attract new ones who are happy to maintain and, if possible, increase how much they are willing to exchange for your product use. So basically, all of this English is just saying product growth is a way of acquiring more customers by making your product, by increasing your product value. So I said product growth is often tied to business growth, depending on the type of business you have or the kind of product you are running, you're managing. It is often tied to business growth, especially in this area of tech. So most times, the success of a business is largely tied to the success of that product, which means you need to get more customers using that product to grow that business. So I said more customers equal more revenue equals business growth. So, like I said earlier, business growth is just a summation of having more customers. When you have more customers who are willing to pay, who are willing to exchange something for your product, who see value in your product, who are satisfied using your product, and you can acquire new customers. The more customers you have, the more revenue you can have for your business, and then your business will grow. So, product growth is linked to business growth. Next, growth succeeds PMF. Like Ms. Blessing said earlier, many people are stuck at building the product, building your MVP most times. You build your minimum viable product, and because a lot of work goes into that as a product manager, if you're a product manager, you're thinking of ideation, you're thinking of the development, you're writing PRDs, you're writing different documents, you're drawing wireframes and frameworks and all of those things. I know that sometimes it can be exhausting when you build a product and you're like, okay, this is the product, and most of us wish that we have users just automatically come to our product because our product is awesome and superb. But that's not true. After you have built your product, you have to achieve product market fit. After achieving product market fit, then you can talk about growth. So the first stage is achieving that product market fit. So you can always, like I said, especially if you're a growth product manager, when you're building the product from the onset, you can, adopt some product growth strategies in your development, which is recommended. I mean, while you are developing your products, you can adopt all of that. But true growth, when you're really growing your product, begins after you have achieved product market fit. That is when you can now say, oh yeah, we've achieved product market fit. We are somewhat stable. Now we want to scale our product. So can someone or anybody, can you just put in the comment box how you know your product has achieved PMF? If you can hear me, just put it in the comment box. How do you know your product has achieved PMF? So how do you know you're ready for the next stage, which is growth? I'll be reading in the comment section. Repetitive usage. Okay. Thank you, Adifajo Ibrahim. Any other person? Repetitive usage, when you have more people using your product. Okay. Any other person? Nobody. Do I call somebody? Let me see the list of people we have. Retention. Okay. Thank you. All right. So we don't waste time. So how do you know that your product has achieved PMF? So these are common PMF markers you have to look out for. The first 100 or so customers. So if you build a product and you are struggling to find your first 50, 100 customers with already existing marketing strategies, it might be an issue either with your offering, it might be an issue with the product, it might be that you're not solving a need, a proper need. So if you are unable to get your first 50 to 100 customers or so, you might want to revise your strategy, revise your products, go back, see if you're really targeting your users' needs, see if you're really solving their problems. So the first thing is, okay, first 100 or so customers. Secondly, there's something called the 40% rule. And basically the 40% rule is that when you pick your current users, let's say you have 100 users, when you pick 100 users or 100 customers and you run a survey, right, at least 40% of them should think that they would be disappointed if your product doesn't exist. Or 40% must say this product is a must-have. So out of 100, at least 40% must say, oh my God, if this product does not exist, I will be so disappointed. I don't know how my life will be. It will make my life harder, or, it's going to be such an inconvenience. If you run a survey like that and you can't get 40% to say, I really want this product, or I'm happy this product is in my life, or this product is a must-have, this product has solved my problems and I want it, you may want to, like I said, revise the product, reiterate, look through your strategy or your product and build something that users really need. Then excellent understanding of your customers' needs. There's a point, when you first build a product, you might feel like you know what your users need, what your customers need, but the more they use the product, you might realize that their needs may even be more complex than you earlier anticipated, or maybe a bit slightly different from what you expected, right? But it gets to a point when you've been building a product, building your business around it, that you realize, okay, these are the major needs that our users come to us for. This is what our users currently want at this point. If you can pinpoint that, you know that, okay, I may have achieved PMF. And then lastly, low acquisition costs, which is CAC, cost of acquisition. If you have 100 customers and it costs you probably times 5 of what you need to run your business to acquire those customers, then you have not achieved PMF. Because that could be like you buying customers, and it is not sustainable. It's not sustainable for you. It's not sustainable for your business. So if you have a too high CAC, you may want to, like I said, revise your product and then go ahead from there. But then if you tick 3 to 4 of these markers, then it might be the right time for you to start talking about growth or scale. So something about growth, because I'm going to be using growth and scale interchangeably, because essentially they kind of mean the same thing. You're trying to grow your product, you're trying to scale the business, scale your product growth. So one thing I want us to know as product managers, product owners, is that growth doesn't happen in isolation. So even though, because of how this landscape of work is changing, businesses are now looking for product managers who also sit in the role of growth marketers or growth managers, which is why you have the growth product management to start with. Because of how the landscape is changing, you just sort of have to, and you have to accommodate all the things that come with growth, right? You have to look beyond just the technical part of products. So initially, it's always been, okay, you're a product manager. It is a like core tech role. Even though we work with different stakeholders, it is still products. Okay, you're trying to get this product to be functional. So primarily, we're thinking of functionality. We're thinking of, building something that works, something that doesn't break, that doesn't have too many bugs, right? But once you are, and that's why growth product management is somewhat of an advanced profession, an advanced role, because you're not just doing products, you're not just getting a product to be functional, you're trying to grow that product. And if you're trying to grow that product, you have to look at the other aspects that make the product successful. So when you talk about product growth or business growth, there are things that we call pillars of growth, right? And those are product, marketing, and operations. Basically, you can find this across different businesses, different organizations, different products. Growth does not happen in isolation. You cannot sit down and say, okay, I'm a product manager. How am I going to grow this product as just a product, just in the product sense, right? You have to look at the other aspects, which is operations and marketing, like I said. So depending on the type of product you have, you may need to be involved in or influence the other two factors. Next, where do you come in as a product manager? So if you're a product manager and you're filling the role of growth product management, or you're just trying to, maybe you don't have that title officially, but you've been tasked with the responsibility of growing this your awesome product that has reached PMF, that has attained PMF, where do you come in? So like I said earlier, you're at the intersection of operations, marketing, and products. Even though your primary domain is product, there is a point where you link with operations, there is a point where you link with marketing, and there is that sweet spot where you are at the center of it all, and that is where you are. So take ownership of your product beyond the technical aspect. So when you're sitting and you're trying to scale your product, you're not just looking, like I said earlier, you're not just looking at the technical aspect. You're looking at your product almost like holistically and saying, this awesome thing I have built, how do I get it out to more people? How do I get more people to give more for this product? And so as long as it will lead to the satisfaction of customers and acquisition of new ones, you have a stake in it and you have a say. So as a product manager, you have a say in all of these things. So now we are getting into the meat of today's session, which is the AARR framework for product growth. So there is a common framework that we use for product growth, not just product growth generally, business growth, but primarily product growth. We're talking about products here. And AARR stands for acquisition, activation, retention, revenue, and referral. Starting with acquisition. Acquisition is basically the first step to growth, which is getting more customers. So you have this awesome product. How do you get customers? How do you acquire your customers, right? So as a product manager, you want to be thinking, how do you optimize your product for acquisition? How do you set up your product? How do you design your product to optimize it for acquisition, right? There are different ways you can do this. If you have it, once again, like I said, depending on the kind of products you have, there are different ways you can approach this strategy. There are different ways you can build your product or scale your product. So acquisition, just think, okay, I have this awesome product. How do I get people to come to this product? How do I attract people to this product? And you can utilize, different things. Also, how do you optimize for high quality leads? Remember that you're not just trying to get users, you're not just trying to get people that will just come and look at your product one time and go back. You're trying to go beyond acquisition to adoption, right? So how do you optimize your acquisition channels? How do you optimize your acquisition strategies for high quality leads? When I'm talking about high quality leads, I'm talking about leads that have a high lifetime value and have within a short payback period. So the payback period is the period from when you do your acquisition strategies to when the customers start paying, like from the point you acquire them to when you get your reward, like your first reward. to when they actually start making you money. So you're looking at your different acquisition channels. Now, this is a whole topic, and there are different acquisition channels, different acquisition strategies you can look at for your business, for your product. But basically, while you're looking at your different acquisition channels, you are trying to optimize for high quality leads. So how can I get good customers? How can I get people that are willing to invest in this product, right? How do I, like I always say that a significant part of product growth is just asking a lot of questions. How, why, where, why, when, so how do I do this? Then, so how do you reduce acquisition cost? So let's say, for example, you're working with your marketing team to get, okay, let's say you have a web-based product, which means one of the ways you have to acquire customers is different marketing strategies that will bring them to your website, to your page, to your web app, and all of that. And you work with a marketing team, and they tell you that, okay, this particular acquisition channel costs us 100K to bring 100 users, but these 100 users are more likely to earn us, let's say, $20,000 in 6 months. And then they tell you that, okay, there is another channel that costs us, let's say, 50K to bring in 100 users. But this 100 users will bring us just 2 million in 2 months. You're trying to optimize and say, okay, even though this costs a little bit more to acquire the customers are more valuable, right? And compared to this one that costs less, and the customers will not bring us more based on the type of acquisition. So you want to increase your quality, you want to increase quality acquisition channels, you want to optimize for high quality leads, you want to pick what works best for your business on the long term, and you also want to reduce this. So if costing 100K to bring 100 users has proven to be like the best acquisition for you right now because of the quality of the leads, you want to be thinking, how do we reduce this cost even further? How do we get this same quality of leads, this same quality of customers, and then reduce the cost, reduce how much it costs us? Is it that we are going to reduce our ad spend? Is it that we are going to, explore different types of content? Basically, in this acquisition, you're going to be working heavily with the marketing team. Remember that I said product growth doesn't happen in isolation. So you're going to be working heavily with the marketing team. Next is activation. And this is a product adoption ally. So activation is the process of getting users that you have acquired, users that have come to your website, that you've gotten to maybe even download your product, download your app, getting them to experience your core value. So let's say you've done all of this work to get users interested in your products, all of this spend, all of this effort to get people to download this app. Let's say you work with an influencer, which I do not recommend fully. I'm going to talk on that later. But let's say you work with an influencer, and this influencer brings in maybe 100 downloads, because basically that's the reward you usually gets with strategies like that. And they bring in 100 downloads. How do you get to maximize that 100 downloads? How do you activate them? Basically, you want to be looking at something of 50-60% at least, right? So because that's product adoption, when they use your product, when they take that action that you want them to take. So in this level of activation, you've worked on the large part of acquisition, right? Which you can use different methods for. So how do you activate them? Also, to be able to measure this, you have to define what activation is for you. So if you have an app, for example, let's say you're the product manager for Bolt, and maybe you run an ad or something, and you have 100 users download the app, or maybe through referral, you have 100 users, new users on the app. How do you activate them? How do you get them to book their first ride as soon as possible? Now, you're going to want to weave this into your whole product process, into your user experience, into your user journey. So you have to optimize your product for activation. You have to, so when they come, do you give them free trials? Do you use, for example, somebody comes on Bolt app, maybe they were referred by someone else, and you tell them, oh, okay, there's a free ride, or you have 100% discount on your first ride, or you have a 50% on your first 3 rides, or something like that. There are different ways you can activate users. And also, I say this is dependent on your product. There are some activation strategies that will work for product A that will not work for product B. So you have to really understand your users, and you have to understand the products you're building and the value you're offering. So when you define activation, what's active? For example, like I was saying before I lost my train of thought, for Bolt, their activation will be booking the first ride at least. So when you define that, you can now measure, okay, out of 100 people that we got through XYZ process, within a period of 1 month, let's say 60% of them or 60 of them booked their first ride. You can say, okay, so I have a good activation. You can say, by that, you can even also measure the quality of the leads you're getting. So by using this acquisition channel, you got this type of customers, and this is how, this is what you're expecting from them. So you can know whether to close that channel or, continue with that channel. So periodically, you measure activation rate and aim to increase it per time. It is every product manager's dream to have 100% activation or adoption, but it is but a dream. Some people will not be interested, and that's fine. So I want us to have a mini exercise. How many of us know about Seller's top 100 creators? You can put in the comment section. Yes, you get the slide afterwards, or you can just raise up your hand to speak. If you know about the Seller's 100 creators annually. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, I hope I've not been boring us.
No.
Okay. So Seller releases top 100 creators annually. And as a marketing growth person, you should know that they're not just doing it for free. When businesses or when products release those type of contents, you want to be looking you want to be looking at the intention behind it. So they release 100 top creators annually. How many of us have seen it? How many people know about it? Can I see maybe a vote? Can we indicate? Okay. All right. Thank you. I see some people raising up their hands. Okay, good. So every year, Seller releases top 100 creators, and then they send it to an email. And so to our emails, or they publish it on their website, to all of those funny things. So looking at it, what Adibaya, you want to say something? You're muted.
No, I muted him. Please go ahead. I guess it was a mistake.
Oh, okay, no problem. So can we put in the comment section again, what do you think this is, acquisition or activation? Based on what I've said earlier, do you think this is an acquisition strategy, or do you think it's an activation strategy, and why? Please contribute in the comment section. I'm waiting. Activation. Okay. Adifajo Ibrahim says activation. Other people, please, can we keep it coming? Acquisition. Adidamola says acquisition. Okay. Activation strategy. Okay. Any other person? Any other person? Activation. Okay. All right. So I'm just going to thank you for contributing. So I'm just going to go into it. So primarily, I think it is a great acquisition strategy. And I think it could be both, right? But I think primarily it is a great acquisition strategy, because when they release this 100 creators, look at it this way. The goal of acquisition is to get more people to come to your products, like thank you, acquisition. You want more people to, you want to acquire customers, you want to get leads. These people might not necessarily have, may not have experienced your value, but you want to acquire them, have them sign up or something like that, right? When they release these 100 creators annually, these 100 creators, each of them are going to want to share it with their audiences. Let's imagine each creator has like 10,000 followers or something. And now imagine 100 people sharing it to 10,000 followers. That's some 10 million people coming to know about it. And then when they come to that page, 100 creators annually page, they come to seller's page and they see that, okay, this is what seller does. This is what they do. You can view their store because you see the page, you see links, you can view their store. You can create an account. They have nudges there when they're telling you, oh, create your account to get started or create your own seller store, all of those things. Primarily, it is an acquisition strategy. So because coming to read 100 creators doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to start selling on seller immediately. So it is now the products or the company's job to ensure that the 10 million people or 1 million people that come from the creators are activated. And activation, like I said, is beyond. So let's say out of 10 million people that come, let's say 20% of them decide, oh, this seller is a cool place. Maybe in the future, I would want to sell my own product. Or I want to open up my own store or something like that. And then they sign up. That's excellent acquisition, right? But seller will have to sort of do more to get them to actually open their store. And that's where their email marketing comes. So let's say you create your account, but you've not opened your own store. Seller has email marketing that will now tell you, oh, okay, we see that I recently created an account. This is how to use seller. This is how to open your own seller account. That's content marketing, email marketing. And that is when the visitors, the customers are actually activated. So for people who already have an account, maybe you already had an account on seller and you saw top 100 creators annually, but you've not opened your store yet. When you read the top creators annually, you can feel, oh, wow, this could be me too. If I was creating more online and if I was selling my stuff on seller, I could be on this list. You know what? Let me just create my own store. That could be activation. But primarily, so, it could be both. That could be activation for already, acquired customers who have not been activated. But primarily, it is an acquisition strategy, right? The next one is Bumper. So Bumper launched a business academy. Like we know, most times, content marketing is an acquisition strategy. So what would activation look like? Please let me see in the comment section. So you are the product manager for Bumper's Business Academy and you have launched this feature, the Academy. What would activation look like? Let me know in the comment section. I'll wait. Remember that I said activation happens when your users or when your customers take the desired action, when they experience the value of your product, what exactly you are selling. You know that Bumper is not selling the academy, right? There is something else that they are selling. There is something else that they are making money from. There's something else that they are giving their customers. So what will activation look like if you are a user that came to Bumper's Business Academy? What will activation look like for Bumper? I'm reading the comments. Please drop something. Enrollment, okay. Thank you, Adifajo Ibrahim. Someone else? Any other person? Get micro influencers to promote courses on the platform as faculty and drive enrollment. Okay. Enrollment. All right. Thank you very much. So let's go to the next slide. Bumper is a store. They're like a business owner store. They help you have a store, an online store, right? The goal of their academy is to get more people to sign up and have a shop. This screenshot is from a conversation I had with one of my one-on-one business clients who wanted to start a store, and I gave her some options. She needed, Nigerian-based stores. And when I gave her options, this was what she came back with. She said, I think I'd go for Bumper. It's quite cheap, and they even have free courses for business owners. This was the selling point for her because she's just starting. In fact, when I saw the Business Academy, I thought, oh my God, this is such a good strategy because many companies, many products actually use this, from HubSpot to Pendo to Mixpanel to, in fact, whenever you go online to search for a free course on something, this is what is happening. They're teaching you how to use it. They're teaching you how to do your business better using their tool. right? So actually, activation for them, acquisition would be getting enrollment, right? When you enroll, you've been acquired as a customer, but you've not been activated per se. So enrollment will be more of acquisition, and then starting their own store and possibly making their first purchase, first sale will be activation. But primarily it is them actually opening an account and starting their own store, opening their own store. That is what activation will be, because when you open your store, then you sell on it and then Bumper can make money. So acquisition and activation can be very dicey. It's one of those things that you really need to define early on with your business. Remember, in both acquisition and activation, you really have to define them. Define acquisition, define activation for your business. They can seem dicey, they can seem like the same thing, but they really are not. So you have to define what these things are so that you can measure them properly, so that you don't say, oh, 10,000 people have enrolled in my academy, but if you are not activating them, if they are not opening it. So for example, if you enroll, let's say this lady wasn't urgent about starting her own business and opening her own store, and she was just interested and she enrolled in the course. As she's going through the course, Bumper will be soft selling their product. They'll be saying, okay, so you can do this as a business owner. This is how to do well as a business owner. This is how Bumper will help you. Or this is how to do well. Learn how to do it on Bumper, or create your Bumper store to see how it works. That's because they're trying to activate it. They're going to send emails to say, we saw that you took this course. Congratulations on taking this course. Would you like to practice on the app? All of those things. So that is when activation actually happens. Thank you. So next, retention. Remember, we are going AARRR. So retention, and I think this is almost the most important aspect of scaling your product, right? Or scaling your business. Retention. Acquisition is great. Activation, superb. But retention is their king, because it doesn't matter if you get 1 million people to come to your product. In fact, it doesn't matter if you get 500,000 out of the 1 million to take a first action. If you cannot retain them, your business is not going to be sustainable. You will not, your product will not survive, right? So the goal of retention is to get customers to come back and to keep coming back. So while I'm discussing this, just think about your favorite product or your most used product. Why do you think you keep going back? I listed a few ones here. You have Candy Crush. I know many people play Candy Crush. I'm a somewhat boring person, so I don't play games much, but I've seen many people. I've seen adults, children, I've seen men, women play Candy Crush. Why did they play Candy Crush? Duolingo, if you've ever tried to learn another language, you probably downloaded Duolingo at some point, and I was stuck on Duolingo. In fact, I have a whole article on Duolingo's product-led growth strategy. Why do I keep going back? I mean, these are questions I like asking. Why am I coming back to this product? What's happening? What are they offering me? Like, what is it exactly? So Glovo, it could be Glovo, it could be, I'm putting Glovo here, not Chowdeck, because somewhat I'm biased towards Glovo. I'm a big fan of Glovo. So why do I keep ordering from them? Instagram, why do you keep going to Instagram? You do not have money. Yeah, Instagram is not paying you, rather. So why are you going? X or Twitter, why do you keep going? So these are questions you want to ask. Why am I just sometimes as a product manager, just sit down and say, okay, why do I use this thing? Or your favorite fintech app, let's say you use PiggyVest or you use Carrywise. Why do I keep going to PiggyVest instead of Carrywise? Interestingly, I opened a Carrywise account first, but right now PiggyVest is my major savings app, and I've asked myself that question. So I mean, I have some answers, but I'm keeping them to myself as to why I use PiggyVest more. So basically, like I said, retention is a way to get your customers to come back. And for you to do this, you have to define your retention action. What action would your customer need to take for you to say, okay, we've retained this customer, and how frequently you have to. Can anybody give me a minute? Okay, I thought I received a notification. Okay, so how frequent, what retention action, what is that action? For example, for Duolingo, the action will be taking at least one lesson, right, to maintain your streak. For Candy Crush, should be at least playing one game. For Glovo, at least ordering a meal. Instagram, at least logging in for, last I checked, maybe it was being online for maybe 3 minutes or something, or is it 5 minutes? So you have to define that for your product. There are different things for different products depending on what your product is, and you have to determine that. Then 2, determine retention frequency. Depending on the type of product you have to be realistic. You can't say, oh, my customer is active, or I've retained this customer. For me to say I've retained this customer, they have to come every day. If you are giving a healthcare products, you don't want your customers to come every day, because that means they're not doing okay. But if they are coming, maybe they need healthcare telemedicine services, and they are coming maybe once a quarter, you can say, okay, this is an active user, this is a retained user, right? But if they're coming every day, you know that there's problem. This person probably needs more than this telemedicine product. Maybe they need to go to the hospital. So you have to define what that is for your product. So there are different ways. Like I said, this particular retention is like a whole subject and course on its own. But essentially, you just want to know what this frequency is like for your product. So why this is good is that if you know what your retention action is, you can now build strategies around getting your users to take this action over and over and over and over again. So you can either do this by primarily by optimizing your product for retention by continually providing value to users. So if they experienced value one time, how do you get them to continually experience this value? How do you increase this value to your users? How do you get them to keep coming and coming and coming? See, it is better to focus on retaining the customers that you have than to put all your energy on acquiring them with no retention plans. And that's what usually happens. So you launch your new product, you run an ad, or you do some form of marketing, and then you bring them, but you don't have any strategy to keep them. So they use your product one time and they forget about it. So how do you get them to keep coming? I know that push notifications are very annoying, but they're like one of the strategies you can employ. You can do that. You can employ habit forming strategies like gamification and streaks. If you've used Duolingo, you know that they heavily rely on gamification. So they make it seem like you're playing, like you're having fun. This one too, gamification. But you cannot use gamification for every product. For example, you cannot gamify Glovo, because you cannot, I don't know, I don't know how to put it. You cannot turn my eating into games. Or maybe there's a way you can think around it. After all, a strategy is a strategy, and you can, whatever you find interesting, you can try it out. But like I said, your product is unique. So the strategies you're going to use will be unique to your product. So there's gamification, there's streaks. Also, you cannot use streaks for Glovo per se. Because do you want me to be buying food from you every day? That's not sustainable. My money is going to finish, right? But you can utilize excellent push notifications for Glovo. So Glovo tells me things like, over time, I've monitored the kind of push notifications they give me, and I've seen that it is highly personalized. So let's say there are like 2 or 3 restaurants I buy from in general, and kind of push notifications they send to me are tailored to those restaurants. So they say something like XYZ restaurant that you usually buy from is running a discount, or XYZ restaurant is, do you want more sizzling whatever from XYZ restaurant? That works for them because it's stimulating my appetite. It's telling me, okay, you liked these people before, you got value from this restaurant before, would you like to get more value from this restaurant? Okay, so Twitter, now there are different. I want to talk a bit about Twitter, because sometimes you have to employ, or you have to capitalize on internal triggers over external triggers. So these are external triggers. When you get a notification, is an external trigger. When you have streaks that you have to maintain, somewhat external, internal mixed. But there are some products that their retention is heavily based on internal triggers. For example, you look at your social media products now, Twitter and Instagram, you're not exactly making money from it, except you're a business owner if you go there just for leisure. What you're going there to do is to kill boredom and to stay ahead, like to stay on top of trending topics. What Twitter can do is that in the initial stages of their adoption, so some of the things I like to do periodically is just create new accounts on products with a different email address and see how they try to retain me, to see how they try to get me to adopt. And if you create a new account on Twitter, you notice that the first thing they will do is, okay, see what is trending. Maybe when they see some content that are doing well, they recommend it to you, they send you a notification saying, oh, this is what this person is tweeting, this is what they are talking about. That is one. But as you come to use Twitter even more, you realize that their strategy sort of changes to curating your timeline for you. So if I and maybe another friend have the same type of followers, let's say we're following the exact same people, and both of us come online at the same time, chances are we are not going to see the same content at the same time, because Twitter then, just takes data from how I have interacted with the app, gives me topics that I'm more likely to interact with, things that are more likely to pick my fancy, and then they curate my timeline based on that. So that is not it's not gamification, it's not streaks. This is proper product engineering for retention, right? So it's similar to what happens with Instagram, and that's why our views are not good at the moment. But understand your product, understand your users, understand what is triggering them, understand the value that you're giving to them, and then you can craft a retention strategy that addresses all of this. Take advantage of the internal triggers, take advantage of the external triggers, take advantage of everything you have. You just need your users to keep coming back, and they can only come back if they like the value and they're happy with it, which brings us to the next one. So revenue, make money. You have to make money. There's no point having an excellent product that is not making money. And I see that happen quite a lot. Like I remember when I was on the podcast with Goodness, I was talking about how I don't want my efforts to waste. As a product manager, the joy of being a product manager or a growth product manager is seeing that people are using your product and it is making money for the business, right? Even when you have meetings with your stakeholders and you say, oh, I want to bring in this new feature, or I want to bring in this new whatever. One of the questions they'll ask you is, okay, so how is this going to increase revenue? How is this going to align the curve? How is it? If you have the fanciest features and you have the most beautiful design, slick user interface, and your customers are not willing to pay or exchange something for it, then there is no point, right? So you want to make money. What is your business model? There are different business models. So I'm trying to, I compressed a lot into this. So I'm not going to be exploring the business models, but like, what is your business model for your business? Is it subscription? Is it a freemium? Is it ads? So for social platforms, it's primarily ads. So you have YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, ads. Is it direct subscription? Is it a cut on every page? So for example, if you have bumper or you have seller, or you are removing, once you make a sale, they take their own cuts. Or is it healthcare? Is it once everybody makes? Is it once your customers get a service that they get paid? You just have to determine what your business model is, right? And then look at your product. The way your product is set, is your product a perfect fit for that model? If you're not making money, is it possible that the way you're trying to make the money is not realistic? Right? So you're looking at your product every time, you're looking at your users, looking at how your users are using this product, and saying, is this really it? How about we explore other sources? So what are your revenue sources? Are you maximizing them? So if you're making money from a particular source, a particular model, are you maximizing them? So you're having more customers. Is there a way you can have these customers even give you more money or more value in exchange for the product, right? So you're looking at that. Also, there are different ways, different angles you can look at this from, and then you explore other revenue sources aside customer payment. So if you're predominantly on customer payment, maybe you may want to consider other platforms or other models. So finally, referrals and recommendations. Okay, so we're wrapping up soon. So remember that we started with acquisition. Wait, before I continue, can everybody hear me? Are we good? Just if you're with me, and it's possible to gamify. Oh, I'm just saying this. It's possible to gamify Glovo. I'm looking forward to that because I really love their experience. So yeah, thank you. Okay, so let me go back to this. Sorry about that. Okay, so referrals and recommendations. So referrals and recommendations are typically linked to customer acquisition, because if you're telling people to refer your business is or your product, is because you want to acquire customers, right? So for you to hack this, you have to employ it at the right time in your customer journey, often after they've experienced product value and are satisfied with it. You cannot ask people that are not happy with your product to refer it. Why? Or to recommend it. Sometimes I have some products that give me a headache. And then after I am able to finally take that desired action, they now come to me with, did you enjoy using this product? Would you recommend? Please just get off from my front. I'm not recommending anything. I'm not referring anything. In fact, this is the last time I'm going to use it, which is why customer experience is pivotal. Like, customer experience is one of the most important things to consider when you're talking about retention, right? You need to have good customer experience. Your users have to enjoy that value, like to get the value, but to enjoy themselves while getting the value. If I have to download something from your product, I have to use your product, and I have to jump 7 mountains and swim through 7 rivers to get to it, best believe as soon as I get, especially when my money is there, as soon as I get what I need, I'm deleting your app. In fact, I had an experience recently that I needed to pay for something. And there was this, when I checked online, so I just Googled, because first instinct, how do I can't remember, I pay for something, how do I pay for XYZ? And their website came as the number 1. I'm like, wow, the person that is handling their SEO is expert, their content marketing is expert. I went to the page. I used in acquisition. I went to the page. I'm like, oh, this is excellent. I was so impressed. I downloaded the app. Once I downloaded the app, I'm like, okay, the app was even a bit difficult to download to start with, but I'm like, things happen. I'm a product manager. Some things don't turn out the way we want to turn out. Then they asked me, I was trying to take this particular action, and it was so difficult. The user experience was so difficult. Then they asked me to pay, I think, 1,003 for some form of activation. Once again, because I don't like to be that grumpy product user, I paid. Tell me why after I paid, I was unable to take the action, because they waited till I had paid before telling me that I needed to have done something else, which I was unable to do at that time, before utilizing the product. So now, because you're greedy, you've collected my 1,300, knowing fully well, or not even choosing to find out if I'm a proper customer, if I have what it needs to take that action. Because I went to the last stage and they told me, okay, go and pay. And after paying, I couldn't. It was very frustrating. So I left their app, and then I think 2 days later, I received an email saying something like, oh, we noticed that you did not shake any con. We are waiting for you. Do you like? I was so pissed. I deleted the app. I sent an email to their customer service to remove me from their database. I was so pissed. I was not pissed at the money I paid for activation as much as the hidden, the hidden phase and the experience that was really difficult. So yeah, you cannot tell people that are not happy or are not satisfied with imagine those people now telling me, oh, please recommend our product. I wouldn't, because I didn't enjoy it. I had a very frustrating time, right? So ensure that they've experienced product value and are satisfied with it. And then you can now say, oh, did you enjoy doing this? So maybe they got maybe you have a healthcare app, and they finally booked the consultation with the doctor. That's not when to ask them to refer your app. Wait till they've actually gone for that consultation and they've received complete value. Then you can say, oh, we saw that your consultation went smoothly. Could you give us ratings, or could you refer us or recommend us to a friend or something like that? Then it will be easier for you to say, oh yeah, I enjoyed this, I can recommend it. So referrals can also be in the form of invites, and most social media apps use this. So and I've noticed that one thing, why does this thing keep going to product-led growth? I've noticed that one of the things that social media apps do is that they tie these referrals and recommendations to their retention very closely. So you know that for social media apps, to be a retained user, you have to come online. It's a social media app, so you need your people around. So when you download or when you open an account with Snapchat or Instagram or Twitter or LinkedIn, some of the first things they'll tell you is invite this person, or can we have access to your contact? Do you want to tell this person about us? Do you want to invite your friends? So because their own retention model is heavily based on you interacting, and you can only interact with people that you want to interact with, people that are your friends. So you can, if you are building a social app or you're trying to build some form of community feature in your product, you may want to look at this. So say, okay, people might not give you access to their contact, I don't, but then you can say, can you invite this friend? Duolingo will tell you, we saw these people in your contacts, or these people are around you that like this, you might know this person, all of those things. Basically, it's just, a form of referral and recommendation. If those people are not online, you activate them that way, right? Or you acquire them that way as a product owner. So your friend tells them, oh, I use this app, it's cool, come and check it out. And then you come, you check it out. Fourthly, virality isn't all that. I know that right now everybody wants to go viral. Everybody wants their products to blow. Everybody wants, and I think that's really why people use influencer marketing. But virality isn't all that really. Except you are, so personally, I think except you are selling some form of physical product. So let's say maybe a makeup product or a type of jewelry or a type of outfit, primarily skincare products. Actually, those are the ones that do excellently well with virality. But when you're selling core tech services, it might not be all that for you, right? It's better for you to acquire your customers, in batches, retain them, tweak your products to serve them more, to offer more values, have a somewhat upward slope of acquiring customers and satisfying them, than just putting in a lot of money and trying to go viral only to get 100 users. So like I said, influencer marketing is shaggy most of the times, because I've seen many, especially when you say orga-led growth, right? They'll tell you, oh, I want you to be the growth product manager or the growth marketer or whatever. And then you're having a meeting and some orgas will say, there's this hottest comedian or this hottest kit maker, give him our product. And then you as a product owner or product manager or product growth manager should be able to say, I don't think this person is a very good fit, because if your product is give me something random, maybe a fitness app or something, and you work with an influencer that is just funny, that is just popular, maybe the influencers community are even people who are, do I say lower to middle class, who are not exactly trying to get fit. The most you are going to get, they'll come and say, oh, Kiniko, they have this funny skits and they tell your product, oh, this product is helping me exercise. These days, now exercise I did do, or something like that. And then the users are probably not your proper target audience. They will now say, oh, LOL, this person, you're too funny. The product acquisition you're trying to get, you'll not get. Because, that's a form of recommendation, because the influencer is recommending your product, right? But they're not the right target audience, and they don't need your services as it were. They don't need your product as it were. So you shouldn't heavily rely on them. The most you get is, hi, LOL, this person is funny. Hi, and exercise they do now, don't follow. Hi, If for some reason some people love that influencer enough to download it, because they do not need it. You see, remember I was talking about acquisition channels. It is a very low acquisition channel, because now they've downloaded it, but they do not need it. If by tomorrow they see on the description, they say, which one is this one again? Oh, it was because of Oyinka I even downloaded this thing. Bam, they've deleted it. So it is not very, it's not very, sustainable in most times. Although there's a way you can do influencer marketing that is great. Excellent. I am working on an article on that sometime in the future, where you can work with people who are really tailored to your target audience. How you can, instead of just outrightly selling, you can use them as a way to improve, as a way to, to learn more about how to use your product, right? It might be better that way, but just like selling outrightly, especially when they are very expensive and they're not targeting your audience, as a way to recommend, it really doesn't work. Go and ask many product marketers or many product growth managers. They'll tell you that the ROI on this thing is not so good. If you think I am lying, please think of all the ads you have seen and ask yourself honestly, how many apps have you downloaded because an influencer marketed it? Or how many products, especially like tech products, have you tried out and give money to? Because you get Lai Wasabi for fitness products. Lai is not trying to be fit. So how many of those products or services have you actually used because an influencer told you to, right? So yeah, so you want to, I feel like you can optimize influencer marketing for for product education, maybe even entertainment, but as acquisition, the quality is not always very good, right? It's not always very good. So you want to look at your order this time. Please remember that I said that you have to work with other members of your team. If your marketing team is saying, I think we should try other approaches. I think we can do more content marketing and we should run ads in this regard. Or I think we can, please listen to them. Just because yes, thank you for awareness, but not necessarily for acquisition, for awareness. And then there's a way you can make it organic. You really need to, and just because I don't even know why I'm hammering on this, but I've seen many products make the mistake. Just because an influencer is big doesn't mean they have high quality leads. Doesn't even mean that their users or their community can afford the service you're offering. But yeah, more on that on maybe later when I write about it or when I discuss on it. So we are wrapping up now. Okay, product-led growth that my laptop has wanted to be on since. So product-led growth is a common growth strategy right now, and it heavily uses the product as a source of growth. So all of these things that I said now, AARRR, product-led growth relies on optimizing your product to do all of these things. And an example of that is Duolingo. Yeah, but even Duolingo doesn't rely on that completely. But yeah, product-led growth is using your growth as a tool for customer acquisition, customer retention, marketing, customer service, and referrals. Should all products employ product-led growth? Should all products employ product-led growth? I'm going to answer that later. But let's go to the next slide. So, okay, let me speak a little bit on this. Let it not be like I just glossed over it. On product-led growth, for example, let's see what's a common app that we all use. Let's still use Duolingo because it's one of the excellent examples of product-led growth. If you use Duolingo quite a bit, you will. I'm going to put the article here to explain that further. But if you use Duolingo quite a bit, you realize that number one, the product, like I said, heavily uses referrals and invitations as an acquisition strategy. So once you sign up, they tell you, okay, this person is in your area, or we got this person from your contact. Do you want to invite them? Do you want to start a not competition, like you want to start a session with them? Do you want to track progress with them? All of those things, start a streak with them, right? Customer retention, of course, excellent product. They have great content marketing within the product. So if you want to read a Duolingo article on exciting things happening in Duolingo or how to use Duolingo, you don't have to go outside the product. I mean, you can have the article on their website separately, but within the product itself, you can do that. You can get your customer service on the product. They have a self-help resources feature where you can get everything you want on the product. Marketing, if you are using Duolingo, you are getting Duolingo ads. In fact, if you are a free user, every time you finish a lesson, you get now use Duolingo with your family and friends and your loved ones, kiniko, and that's excellent because if you are using Duolingo, it means you're already and you are retained. Their customer retention also, they use streaks. So if you're on Duolingo, you use streaks. You have streaks just like Snapchat, right? So if you're a retained customer, that means you like them enough to be using them. So when they are marketing to you to upsell, it is a great platform because yes, if you are here, it's because you like us and you want to use more of us. So customer service and then referrals is linked to the customer acquisition. So should all products employ PLG? We'll see. Now finally, I'm going to be talking about the things that you need as a product manager, things that you need in your toolbox to scale your product. And I have product analytics, healthy customer obsession, critical thinking, consumer psychology, product-led growth strategy, collaboration, and teamwork. So I'm going to be running through this because I think I have like 10 minutes more. So the first one is product analytics. And I said product analytics is a PM's best friend to sustaining growth because you need to measure and track. You can only improve on what you can measure, right? So you have to be able to track the important metrics. If you're tracking your daily active users, weekly active users, monthly active users, or you're tracking your retention rates, churn rates, you're tracking, because a lot of growth is heavily dependent on analytics. So if you acquire customers, you want to see how many people you acquired. You want to see how much it cost you to acquire this. You want to see how many people were activated. You want to see how many people are retained on a monthly basis. And there are different analytics tools that you can use for this. You can use Google Analytics, especially if your product is a web-based product. You can use Mixpanel, easy, simple Amplifage. You can use Amplitude. You can use, with Mixpanel, simple, easy interface. Then you can use Amplitude, you can use Pendo. I mean, there are different analytics based on your company's budget, right? But Google Analytics is free. It has its limitations, but it's free for the most part, especially if you're using it heavily for your, marketing, product marketing, acquisition, activation, strategies. So you can use that. You can use Mixpanel. Of course, these things have you have to learn how to use these tools. You have to learn what to read, what not to read, what metrics really matter, how to define the metrics that you really need. But product analytics is your friend. Is your best friend, like best friend. And the goal of this is to help you make data-informed decisions, not just data-driven. You have to make data-informed. For example, if you have like I said in the acquisition, if a particular channel is bringing you 10,000 customers for 100K or so, and another one is bringing you 5,000 customers for maybe 50, that's about the same thing, 5,000 customers for maybe 120K. A data driven, you might just say, oh, this particular channel is bringing more users, so let us just invest heavily in that. But as a proper product manager who is skilled with product analytics, who can calculate lifetime value, cost of acquisition, quality of leads, and all of that, you can say, okay, even though this is bringing more users, in the long run, the customers are really not high quality. They are not giving us what we want, and our business is going to run at a loss. So this is what we should use instead, or this is how we can tweak this. So it helps you make data-informed decisions. And I think this is exciting. This is one of my favorite parts because it just gets your brain running. Yeah, it's really exciting. Yeah, seeing this, you should have. I've heard that some people are afraid of product analytics. You're like, I don't like it. I wanted to do all. I'm going to do data analytics or something. But this is really interesting, especially when you start using it to make actual decisions and you see how that turns out. So yeah, product analytics is your best friend. Then you need to have a healthy customer obsession. You know, as product managers, we are customer pleasers. We exist for the customer's delight. We want our customers to be happy. In fact, that is what we live for. Every morning when you wake up, you're thinking, this product I'm building, how do I offer more value to my customers? This product I'm building, how do I get them to experience all of my goodness, all of the value? How do I make their lives better, right? So to do this, you want to collect feedback as often as you can. Happy customers will give feedback. Angry customers will give the worst feedback. I mean, collect everything, good and bad feedback, right? Collect both qualitative and quantitative. So when you have qualitative feedback, he explains why quantitative data. So if more users are doing X, Y, Z at this point, and your analytics show that they are from a demographic or maybe this particular cohort taking this X decision per time, and you check demographics and you see that, okay, these people are within this range. You can have a survey. You can ask, for customer feedback, why are you doing this? Do you like this product? Why is this? Why is that? Why is that? So when you understand, you can implement more strategies to make them happier. So the goal is always look for more ways to add value and make your customers happier. Growth can never happen with unhappy customers. In fact, if you have okay customers, happy customers, the best case scenario for happy customers is that they're going to refer you, they're going to recommend you. With unhappy customers, they're going to leave your product and they're going to badmouth you. You don't want that. So be healthily obsessed with making your customers happy. Next is critical thinking and consumer psychology. So seek to understand how customers behave. So when you have data, you have feedback from your customers, and you're obsessed with making them happy. You also want to understand how consumers behave, their mental models and triggers. People make decisions for many reasons, right? Remember when I talk about internal triggers and external triggers? You want to understand that when you look at your product, you are selling, maybe your products provides hair goods or hair accessories to people. What is behind a buying decision of your customer? Why should your customer choose you? How is their life outside your product? And how can you integrate your product to fit seamlessly into their lives? What are the things that would trigger them? For example, if you're selling hair, you cannot having do I say what would typically trigger a person to come to your app to purchase hair? Why would they come there instead of going to a physical store? What will make them urgently want to use your product? What are the mental models that currently exist in their lives? How do they move? How do they talk? Who are the people they interact with? Where are you most likely to find them at 7 p.m. on Thursday evening? All of these things are important. It's interesting the more you learn about it. So there are many books about mental models. There are many books about consumer psychology. Lay your hands on a couple of them and enjoy them. Observe your own buying decisions and that of others around you. So whenever I want to purchase something, I'm always asking why. Why am I choosing this one? If I see different products, different brands of the same products, and I eventually choose one, on my way home, I'm thinking, so why did I pick this one and not that other one? Why should my customer pick me and not my competitor? Is it the design? Is it that it's cheaper? Is it that it felt heavier? Is it that they wrote 450 grams instead of 430 grams? Is it that I saw a typo? All of those things. So aim to understand the why behind decisions. This will help you build products that are also habit forming, because remember, habit forming is critical to your retention strategies. Then finally, please remain ethical. Do not manipulate your users to their detriment. So the more you learn about critical thinking and consumer psychology, the more you realize that it is actually very, very easy to manipulate users. It is incredibly easy. Like you know that you realize that a change in your messaging or a change in your copy or a change in how your product is presented can make users have a different view about it, right? So it's similar to the way social media works. Somebody comes and they say a particular thing, and the way they frame it, people just go with that narrative, right? So you want to remain ethical. You don't want to manipulate your users to their detriment, to your own benefit. So at some point, even if it's going to be a bit beneficial to you, to your product, to your business, you're also thinking of the greater good, right? And you're trying to remain ethical, putting boundaries in place to ensure that you're not taking advantage of your customers. So yeah, another thing that you need in your toolbox is product-led growth strategies. So to the question I asked, while all products may not be mostly driven by product-led growth, a good PM should be able to implement some product-led growth strategies. So depending on the product you have, not all products can be product-led. For example, if you are building a healthcare electronic management record system, people who are going to use your product do not have the product at the moment, right? So you cannot use your product as the primary source of acquisition. You cannot even use it as a referral. You cannot use it as primary, as really a product like that is heavily sales driven. There are some products that you really just need to dust your slippers and go to meet your customers where they are and say, this is what we are selling. No, this is how it's going to make your life better. So some products, regardless of how excellent product-led growth strategies are, not all products can maximize it, right? Not all products can use it to the full. Not all products can heavily depend on it. Some products will still be sales-led, and that's great. Some products can blend with the product-led, and that's great. Understand what your product is. So now once let's say you're doing the health records system, once your users are now on it, you can sort of encourage retention, because you already have their data. Maybe find ways to ensure that it's difficult for them to move their data from your database to another database. That's an excellent retention strategy. Or that's what Google is working on. You have all your life on Google. You cannot just up and leave and say, okay, I want to leave Google, because what will happen to all your documents? What will happen to all your videos, all your information on YouTube, on Google, on everywhere, right? So making it difficult for them to take your product, their information or their services from your product to another one is an excellent retention. You can do that. But primarily, not all products will be heavily dependent on product-led growth. Yeah, so you just maximize your product abilities. So while you cannot still try to make the most of your products as much as you can achieve with your product. Do that. So you need product-led strategies in your toolkit. Finally, you need collaboration and teamwork. Like I said when I started, there are different elements to scaling your product. And scaling the product is a multi-departmental goal. It is not just product or engineering. So you're going to be working closely with operations. For example, look at this product. Look at Glovo no, let me use Chowdeck now so that it's not be like I'm stingy or I'm biased, even though I'm biased. Well, let me use Chowdeck, or let's use Eden. These are products that are heavily dependent on their operations too. So if you are ordering a meal, let's say from Eden that even cooks the meals and provides and delivers it to you, or provides cleaning services or something. These are operations based products, right? So as the product manager, growth product manager, you're going behind just tech and how beautiful the app looks, to going to see how the operation actually works and how you can integrate that into your product process. So you're seeing this is how much time it takes to get this order. This is how easily they can get this order. So you're thinking beyond just how your products looks and how it works. You're thinking outside the box. How does the other operations around this product integrate into the physical, like the digital products that my user is using, integrate into the experience that you're having? So you're asking how long does it take to cook this meal? How can we shorten the period? Okay, Chowdeck heavily relies on, one of the things that Chowdeck is proud of is their speed and getting food hot. So how can we ensure that once a user places an order on Chowdeck, they can get their food delivered XYZ? Is it that we're going to have riders around that area? How do we monitor where riders are? How do we get riders to go to the right restaurant? How do we have food on? Do you understand? All of those things, you're looking at it, right? So that way you're working heavily with operations. You cannot just say, oh, I'm the product manager, I'm just going to sit down. Okay, the experience is good. Okay, the user flow is good. No, you're looking beyond that. You are the entrepreneur of your product. So you have to exercise your leadership capacity. So look at it as you being the CEO of your products, for real this time. So you're pulling from customer service, you're pulling from engineering, you're pulling from marketing, you're pulling from operations to ensure that everything ties seamlessly with your product. And users are, remember that the goal of all of this is that users are satisfied. You can acquire new users who are also satisfied, and then you increase the value of your product so much that users are happy and willing to deliver value, give you some form of monetary exchange for your product. So do not work in isolation, work with the rest of your team. Finally, this is the last slide. Growth is different for each product and business. Therefore, your strategy may be different from others, and that is fine too. Your goal is to craft a strategy that is tailored to your business's unique needs by employing one or a combination of approaches. Growth is different for each product. Chowdeck's growth is different from what Bolt will be like, different from what Clafia will be like. Clafia, we have the pioneer product manager for Clafia in Innova Lab. She's an excellent woman. She's one of the lecturers for the product management cohort. Clafia's growth, if you discuss with her about growth for our products, she'll tell you that it is not the same way they are getting product growth for Seller. Clafia cannot release top 100 sick people. Top 100 sick people on Clafia. Or, okay, they can release something like top 100 hospitals, maybe tweak it a bit, top 100 clinics or service providers or something, to boost. But even that is somehow, because in healthcare, you can't exactly market your services. You can't exactly market, oh, this hospital is better than this hospital. And that would be, bordering on some ethical laws. So they have to adopt different strategies, and that's fine. You just have to have fun. Think of it, look at your analytics, look at your different strategies, look at the tools that you currently have, your products, your users, and how can you craft something to get more people and to get the people that you already have to be happy and satisfied. Your goal is to craft a strategy that is tailored to your business's unique needs. Thank you very much for listening in on my long session. Please ask your questions. I'm open to listening to them. So please thank you, Blessing.
Let me just do this clap for you, because wow.
Oh, wow. Thank you.
Wow. This is an amazing session. I think the year is just starting, but I think this is the best session I have had in a long.
Thank you.
Thank you for carrying us along all the way. It is like,
thank you too.
I was not bored at any point. Anytime I try to press my phone, I'm always like, no, let me not, get my attention divided. You really took that down. And
thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you.
All right, guys. I believe that we have questions, and I have one hand up. Samuel Sawyer. Sorry. So yeah, Samuel, please go ahead to ask your question.
Good evening, Noe. Good
Good
evening,
evening.
everybody. See, if I want to ask all the questions in my head, we will not live here today. So I'm going to just, I'm going to just first
Try
hit with
Amo.
this, because the session was so good that for every question there will be another question because it was extra. So first question, uh, I mean, the section was so good I had to go and start researching you. So are you
Oh,
a Christian teacher and writer? Is that
yes, I am. That's
okay?
my other account.
So
Yeah.
I'll be stalking you one time. So is it possible? Like, can we beg you for this slide?
Oh, yes, I would discuss with the rest of the Innova Lab team. Yeah, it is available.
That's
Definitely.
my question. Every other question is after I finish talking you.
Okay, you should stock. Well, when you get the slide, you see the accounts that you should actually stock. But
Okay,
yeah,
I trust me. I found it. The Oyinko Solami underscore. I
yes,
found it.
yeah.
No worries.
Thank you. Any other
Okay.
questions? Okay,
Any
so
other questions,
I
guys?
have one in the comment section, which
Okay.
says, what would product-led growth for an enterprise SaaS look like? Any use cases? So let's look at HubSpot. Uh, HubSpot is a what do they call it? A CRM, a customer relationship management product, right? And basically, they are helping you manage your customers, get them, acquire them from different sources, track all of them in one place, send out emails, send out text message, anything that has to do with customer relationship management. You can do that on HubSpot, and you pay a subscription, right, annually. So, what will product-led growth look like for them? It is similarly to what Bumper is doing, and that is their content marketing. So HubSpot has all of these courses, all of this, anything they think will be important for you to succeed using their product, you can use that. So that's a product, and you can do it within the HubSpot platform. Like, you don't need to go outside. So once you've downloaded HubSpot, or once you are logged in on HubSpot, you can get all of these resources, right? And you can do that. Also, they can. I don't know about other things that they do, but that was the first instance that came to my head. That was first use cases. I'm sure that if you dig deeper, you can see those hidden strategies that you have there. I hope I answered that a bit. Thank you.
All right. Let's have Maureen.
Okay, Maureen.
Hi, good evening. Thank you so much for your session. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Okay, I wanted to ask, being a growth PM and being a PMM, do you do the
Yeah.
same thing as a PMM? As a growth PM, do you do the same thing as a PMM? Because it seems to be, I noticed there's so many overlap between the two roles.
Yes.
And I just want to know. And next question is, when you have a growth PM in a company, is there any
Yeah.
need to still have a PMM?
Okay. So, like I earlier said when I started, I strongly believe that the reason the growth PM role came to be is because businesses were trying to get 2 for 1. They wanted a growth or a marketing, now we call it growth because it's beyond just marketing. They wanted a growth person who was also a product manager. They want somebody that can pick up do I say growth strategies and tie it into how the product exists, which is something that a product manager is. So a growth PM and a product marketing manager are not exactly the same. A growth PM is more of a strategy based role, and then the PMM has strategy, but if you're working with a growth PM, your role may be somewhat limited to like execution, or you work together with the growth PM on strategy and growth PMM execution. So a growth PM can say, okay, these are the different acquisition, or maybe when you work with your PMM, you can see these are different acquisition channels we have in store. But your PMM will now say, okay, this is how we are going to craft this messaging. So a group PM can say, okay, we want to get, this is a great acquisition channel, but your PMM is deciding how the messaging will be like. is deciding when is the best time for the content to go out, or what type of content is best, what type of marketing strategy is best. If you are getting from this channel, how is the best way to, meet that channel? A PMM is not just taking, they're not really involved as you were fully in the technical aspect of product management. But when it comes to marketing for your product and everything you need, they will do that. So if you have a growth PM on your team, is it necessary for you to get a PMM, product marketing manager? I think so, because the work of a product manager, because most times if they put you in growth PM role, you might still be doing the product manager work, right? You might still be writing PRDs. You might still be drawing wireframes. You might still be having, Scrum meetings, and or combining that with the full-time marketing role is too much. So you should still have a PMM, and then when you work together, when you collaborate and you say, okay, this is where our product is at this point. This is where we want to go to. These are the existing tools we have, and then you and your PMM will decide, okay, these are the channels we have, these are the things we can implement, and then your PMM will do the excellent execution of that while you focus on, the functionality of the product, right? So I hope I answered that question. I think it's similar to what this person asked. Great session. It seems like product marketing. Does this mean the growth product manager role is the same as growth product manager role, or there are nuances between them? Growth hacking too. Like I just explained, it is an overlap. It is an overlap. It's just in addition to all of these things I've said, add it to your, because I spoke as if I was speaking to product managers, right? So add it to your product management. So when you have it, think of it this way. So you have a meeting with your PMMs or your marketing team, and you decide that maybe one of the acquisition strategies you want to have will be a game on the website. So maybe you want, or maybe a quiz, or let's say on the website, if people want to leave, say, do you want to take this quiz? See how effective you are with this quiz, or just a feature. As a growth PM or as the PM, because you're primarily a PM first before you're a growth PM, it is now your responsibility to write what the PRD for that particular feature. It's your responsibility to ensure that your engineers and your designers execute that. It's your responsibility to say, okay, this is how I want this to look like, right? This is how I want the design to look like. Your normal PM role, you draw wireframes, you give direction to how that will be. So you don't want to take all of the work of the PMM. Trust me, it is a lot of work. The best that can happen is collaboration. So the growth product manager role is different from the product marketing manager, although they do overlap. And sometimes, I have to be honest though, sometimes when you go for interviews or in a company, they'll tell you they want a growth PM. But when you see the workload or the requirements, you realize that what they need is a growth PM and a PMM. If it appears that they are not going to get a PMM, you should request for at least a content marketer to work with you, right? So that it's not too much of work. But yes, the roles do overlap sometimes.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you, Maureen. So Omolala says, hi, I have 2 questions.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Finish. Oh, thank you to Maureen. I hope was I able to answer them? Yeah, was I able to answer your question? Maureen. Okay.
Yes, I can hear you.
I think you should up a little.
All right. Thank you. So
When you go
Ma?
you have a question before Omolola's question.
Okay, Somto. Yes, that's what I'm saying now. So it seems this was purely product marketing class. Does this mean the growth product manager role is the same with the growth product marketer role? I just explained it that in addition to all of this, you're adding it to your product management skills, the product management skills that you already have. So you're doing your regular product management, you're looking at different features. So you're looking at different features that can help drive acquisition. You're looking at different features that you can have that can help drive activation, retention, referrals. So in addition to having all of these strategies, these product marketing strategies, you're now bringing them to your product management ability and integrating it into your product. So that can involve having new features if there is a need for that. That can involve removing some features, that can, all of that. And that is your role as a product manager, because you are still a product manager, so you have to execute that too. But yes, there is an overlap. So are there nuances between them? Yeah, those are the nuances. Growth hacking is just fancy word for looking for growth loops, right? Basically, it's in all of this AARR. The English should not just disturb you too much. Basically, it's just how can we growth hacking can be more of short term. How can we get short term, quick growth? But I'm not a big fan of short term. I like more sustainable stuff. Yes. So Omalala says, I have two questions. The first one is, I'm very much interested in being a growth PM. How do I go about it? Is there a course or book you can recommend? The second one is, what websites do you use for your slides? It looks so good. So if you want to be a growth PM, first you have to be a PM. And if you are part of Innova Lab, I trust that you are a student. So be a great, excellent product manager first. Learn the basics of product management. Then you can pick up additional skills. You know what? Actually, I should have written some skills that you might need as a group PM. But then you pick up additional skills, which are excellent product analytics, some marketing skills, and stakeholder management, team management, collaboration. So there are different courses you can take. Just take up more courses on building good products and getting people to like your product. Also, I'm pretty sure that Innova Lab is coming up with a growth product management course. So it should be in the works. So you can check in with that too. Is there a course or book you can recommend? You have to read a lot of books, really. But I can drop the recommendations later. Second one, what website do you use for your slides? I use Canva. Thank you very much. All right, Maureen. Wait, let me ask Giwa Folashewa.
Yeah, good evening.
Good evening.
Yeah, I kind of joined quite late, and it was towards the end when she was sharing the last slide. So I would just like her to give me the differences between the product marketing manager and the product growth manager.
I've actually said this a couple of times.
So
the product, it's okay. I apologize for the time, because I know some people are here and they don't have much time. So think of it this way: the growth product manager has some skills of the product marketing manager in addition to their product management. So in addition to their product marketing skills or added product marketing skills, they can translate those into actionable features on the website, on the product, if there need be. If there is no need for that, they can look for ways to optimize the product for that. Right? Even though that's not the only thing you do, but that's the advantage you have. So while a product marketer will say, okay, this is how to sell this product, these are our marketing channels, a growth product manager is looking at the whole experience of the product for the user and how you can optimize your product at every given time to ensure that your customers are very happy, and then you acquire new customers. So as a product manager, a growth product manager, you are not just saying, okay, this is how it looks like. You can actually translate it into actionable features by working with your engineering, your design team, and all of that. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much.
All right, Maureen, I see you still have your hands up.
Yes, please. One last question, please.
Yeah.
Yes, I wanted to find out. So if you're looking at the PMM role, maybe let's say, for instance, you're already a PMM, right? Is it advisable for one to take maybe growth PM courses
from a
Can I go
PMM?
for growth? Yes.
Yes, you can, but you also want to take product management courses. So if you already have, if you're already a PMM, I would recommend you take a product, and you want to become a growth PM, take a product management course. So they complement each other quite nicely, because you can take an additional growth PM and you still not, a growth PM course is like an advanced course. They won't teach you the basics of product management, and you need the basics of product management. So if you want to go to growth PM, I think I would recommend taking a product management course so that you understand you have great PMM skills, great product management skills, and you can infuse that.
Okay, so a growth PM course is like an advanced course for a PMM, right?
For a product manager, yes.
No,
It's an
no, I
advanced
mean I mean a growth PM course. If I take a growth PM course, it's like taking an advanced course for a PMM to learn more about PMM?
No, it is taking an advanced course for a product manager.
Yeah, that wants to
Oh,
niche
okay.
down.
Yeah, that wants to niche down to. Do you understand? Because even if I remove the growth, you are a product manager. So there's data product manager, there's growth product manager, there's technical product manager. At the background of all of that is product management. So you need to, it's like the basic foundation, the solid foundation, and then you can expand other things on other things.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you too. It's been a pleasure. So I think
Right.
we've covered all questions. Let me see my good vibes. Well, up. I have a taking a bow video. Where is it? Oh, I can't find it. Interesting.
Oh wow.
Okay. Anyway, I'm supposed to have a last slide taking a bow. But it's okay. Thank you very much. Over to the blessing.
All right. Thank you very much for this amazing session once again. You did not even justice now. You killed it.
Thank
And
you.
this session, we're holding it. I'm not sure about us posting this thing on YouTube. It's too much. And so we're holding it. People that did not join today, I've told them on the
We
community.
hunt you down.
And they will not hunt me down. Nobody's gonna hunt me down.
Be playing.
Nobody's gonna hunt me down. But yes, this session is really invaluable. Like, can't peg a price to it at all, at all. So yes, thank you so much once again, Oinkosolami, for this session, and it's great to have to hear from you, learn from you, right? And thank you for taking our questions. I mean, if you allow everybody here now, right? If you allow everybody here to start asking different, the funny thing is, let me say this before we go. As the session was going on, I had questions in my mind. But before I even, finished thinking about the question, the next thing is just, you answering the question that I'm asking that I've not even asked, like said out, right? And I think for me, that's just fascinating. Thank you so much for holding it down. You took us, all together, and it was really an interactive session. Thank you so much. And guys, let me tell you something. If you have learned something here today, right, please go ahead to Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter. Just go ahead to share the things that you have learned, right? And just let people in the know too, right? Just share. We would repost. We would definitely repost. Tag InnovaLab, tag Oyinkansolami on Instagram. I think on Instagram she's the underscore Oyinkansolami. On LinkedIn, I think Oyinkansolami Alabi. And I don't know her Twitter. Maybe she's going to tell us that one. Then InnovaLab NG on Instagram, InnovaLab on LinkedIn, and InnovaLab on Twitter. Please go ahead to drop the things that you have learned and tag us, right? We would love to repost. We would love to see that this has um, given you more insights to what great product management is and how you can really do scale your products beyond market fit. Right. Thank you so much once again, Oyin Kosola. And this is an amazing session. We are not going to post this session on YouTube. So people that did not join, Ella, right? And yes, thank you again. And okay, I think let me just take the questions or comments. Okay, the comments here. Really happy. Don't hold the recording. No, they play my fans. So thank you so much for this insightful session. Really, I am happy I did not miss this session. Okay, LinkedIn, Olua Pelumi, in bracket, Oyinkosolami, out bracket, Alabi, right? And can you please repeat her name? I just did. Olua Pelumi, in bracket, Oyinkosolami, then outside the bracket, you have Alabi, right? So go ahead, tag her, tag Innova Labs. We would definitely repost, right? Thank you so much once again, guys, for joining this amazing product session. Please pardon my voice before you say the host of this product session today was sounding like a frog. right?